So today's a little bit like a birthday or Christmas for me. I'm going to be adding more fish to the African cichlid display, and it's been a while since I've got new fish. So what I've done is I've ordered the fish online from Aquatics to your door. So I'm going to be unboxing them all today. I'll show you exactly what to expect when you order fish online, and then fingers crossed we get some nice looking fish. So the first thing I'm going to do before these fish get here, while I'm waiting for them to arrive today, is I'm going to do a water change. So I'm going to freshen up the water a little bit, but also discombobulate these fish to a degree. Because I find that if I do a water change and there's a lot going on, it distracts the fish a little bit when I'm adding the new ones, and then they're less likely to get beat up as soon as they go into the tank. So we'll crack on with a water change while we're waiting. Now, this is only going to be a small water change because I don't want to drastically alter my water parameters and the temperature and stuff. I just want to confuse the fish a little bit, in all honesty. Right, we'll let a little bit drain out and then we'll wait for the fish. Easy. She's heavy. Let's get them open and see what we've got. Right, so let's get into this box and have a look at some of our fish. One thing to bear in mind is when you do order fish online, you've always got a chance that you're going to get a DOA, which stands for dead on arrival. So there is a chance that the fish could be dead. This is a stressful process for them. A lot of fish places, they will have customer service teams. There will be options where you can insure your order against DOAs. So it just depends where you go and what shop you're using on what they cover you for if that happens. However, I've used Aquatics to your door quite a lot of times and I've always been happy with the fish that I've got. Sometimes these fish might not be as colourful as what they would have been in the shop. Again, because the post is a stressful journey for them, so it can cause some colouring down. So I'm not going to be overly concerned if these fish aren't the brightest of colours when I take them out of this box. But we'll get in and we'll have a look at what we've got and I'll show you what was on my order. So I've got my invoice there, and as you can see, it's wrapped in this bubble wrap like foil, and which is really good because what this does is it keeps all the heat in on the box. So it's a great retainer of heat, and it stops your fish getting too cold when they're in the post. So that's a really good sign. And then I've got some that are individually wrapped in here. So good news is they all look alive. So let's get our first one out here. And he's actually quite nice colours. So this is a yellow Freiberg and it's a peacock cichlid. And he's got some nice coloration on him. And I'm just going to drop these in the tank in the bags for now, just while I unbox them and show you what I've got. But take a closer look at him on the camera. He's really nice. Oh, he looks really good in the tank with the lights on him. We'll move on to our next one, which is a red OB. Quite nice. He's got potential to colour up. So OBs are always a gamble for me, especially when you buy them online, because there's a lot of ugly ones, in my opinion. This isn't the greatest one that I've ever seen. However, you know, he might have coloured down in the post, so we'll just see how he flourishes. I had my yellow OB was actually hideous when I bought that. And he turned out to be a stunning fish. So What have we got here? I think this is the blue neon by the looks of it. They may have packed me a sunshine. Or actually that could be the lemon jake. I think that's the lemon jake now. I can see it in the light a bit better. Which is similar to a Freiberg, only the yellow. So they've got the long finnage, nice yellow colours. If you watch my channel, you'll know that yellow fish don't do particularly well as far as colouring up goes in my tank. Yeah, that's the lemon jake. But they I'm hoping that I can get one to take off. Let's have a look at this one, what we've got here. This looks to me like a sulphur head. Not quite sure what that is. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what that is. I don't think it's one that I've ordered. It might be a replacement. Sometimes if you order the fish and they haven't got the particular fish that you choose in stock, when they send it out in the post, they will send something a little bit different, which I think is what they've done here. It's quite difficult to tell in this light. I'll probably be able to get a better look once I get it in the tank, but it looks like a sulphur head to me. That when he colours up a bit, once he's got a little bit more comfortable, I might be able to tell a little bit better what he is. I've got... This looks like my red shoulder. So I've got a red shoulder peacock as well. All of these are peacock cichlids. He looks a little bit upset and a bit stressed. So yeah, that's my red shoulder, which I've already got one of actually, but he's not showing the fiercest of colours. Hence why I wanted to get another one. I think this will just be, yeah, so these are like temperature packs. So sometimes they're a gel, sometimes they're like a peat soil substrate, which they'll just put in with the box just to keep the temperature up and stop the bags dropping. And then this one, this is the blue neon. So he actually looks quite nice. He's still got quite a bit of colour on him. So again, another yellow-bodied fish, which I'm hoping will take off in this tank because it's in desperate need of some yellow. I know I've got the accents in there with some of the sulphur heads and the stripes on the Venustus, but I want something with a proper yellow body. So I've got two fish that I'm hoping can give me that yellow pop in the tank. But they all look relatively healthy, which is always a good sign, because when I have ordered fish before, I have had some DOAs, and I've had some fish that look beat up or they've got ammonia burn on the gills. But these all look in really good nick, and Aquatics to Your Door have packaged them really, really well. So I'm happy with the delivery. They give you you select your own delivery date, so they don't just show up with the fish. So you can pick a day when you're off, and then the courier will text you the night before, and then you'll get a 2-hour time slot the day when they're due. So you know more or less when they're going to arrive. They'll give you a slot so you can make sure you're in and you can collect the fish. But I'm going to let them acclimate to the temperature a little bit. Then we'll poke some holes, let them acclimate to the water parameters, and then we'll release them into the tank. But I'm really happy with the fish. A little bit of coloration die off, but I'm not all that concerned about it because that happens in the post. My only concern is the size. They are a bit smaller than a lot of my peacocks in here, but I've got a nice number of them. So I've got 6 fish here, which should disperse any aggression amongst the pack. And then hopefully they'll pack on a bit of size and a bit of chunk quite quickly in this tank. So they're not really attracting all that much attention from my other fish. They're not really interested in the bags. They're not pecking at them, which is a good sign, because I thought they would be a little bit ravenous, because it's been a while since I've actually put any new fish into this tank. The last new fish I put in here was the eye biter, which didn't end well. But as far as sort of peacocks go, this is the last, you know, the most recent big load I've put in the tank. They, when it comes to releasing these fish, I don't quarantine them, and I know a lot of people, you know, think that it's a bad idea, but I'm yet to run into an issue where I've not quarantined a fish. And to quarantine all of these individually would just be a monumental task. You know, I'd need to go and set up a load of tanks to do it in. If the fish are carrying any sort of, you know, illnesses or anything like that, then, you know, I can treat the tank as a whole anyway. But I've never had any issues from aquatics to your door before. I've never had dodgy fish. You know, I have had, I think, out of all the times I've had one DOA, which their customer services resolved very quickly. But nothing that's ever come from their fish that's done any damage to my tank or anything along those lines. So I'm just going to acclimatise these the normal way, and then I'll get them released into the tank, and then I'll get you some footage of what they look like once they've settled in a little bit. Right, so these fish have been in here for about 4 or 5 hours now. They look like they're doing well. They are substantially smaller than most of my peacocks, especially some of my big haps. So I think it's going to take a little bit longer for them to acclimatise to and find a place in the tank. So a few of them are spending a little bit of time up behind the wave maker. Obviously they've been in the post, there's a lot of stress involved, and then they're coming into a new tank with bigger fish. So they are going to be a little bit timid and hide away and feel a bit threatened. But the quality of the fish, now they've been in here a bit longer and they've plumped up with a bit of colour, they're amazing. So I've got this yellow Freiberg up at the top here, who's absolutely stunning. Really nice coloration. I'm not getting overexcited because they're smaller fish, and I know coloration's all about dominance, so there's a chance that these could colour down in my tank, but that's not to say they won't colour up when they put a bit of size on. So there's always that chance when you're getting smaller fish and they feel less dominant, they can drop the colours. It doesn't mean you've got a juiced fish. It just means that they're not feeling dominant in the tank. I've had loads of fish where they've not really looked like much, and then once they feel more dominant, they absolutely explode. This Fusco, for example, when my other Fusco, my bigger one, was in here, when the Malawi eye biter killed it, this guy didn't have a lot of colour on him. Look at him now. Now he feels more confident and he hasn't got that competition in the tank. He's put a lot of size on and he's absolutely bursting with colours. So he's really replaced that fish that I've lost, which I'm really happy about. But there's one that I want to show you what I got today, which is this. Is he hiding up here? Yeah. I'll put some B-roll footage so you can get a good view of him. But this is the red OB peacock. And he is absolutely stunning. He's got this deep red body. So it's not just blotchy red parts like my other one. He's got a deep red body with these blue and black blotches on it. And he's absolutely phenomenal. So I've got my fingers crossed with this guy, that because he is the smallest of the lot, and I really would like him to hold that colour but I'm really excited to see what he's going to look like when he puts a bit of size on it and he gets a bit bigger like this one here, because this one lost a lot of coloration, but now he's filled out and he's got a bit of girth to him. He's starting to get some of that colour back. So I hope this one does really well, because if he makes it to a big size and feels dominant, he's going to be a trophy fish in this tank. That is one of the nicest looking peacock cichlids I think I've ever seen. I've got the lemon jake, which is right up at the back here. Again, relatively small, but he's not hiding away. He's confident. Touch wood, I can't see any of my fish picking on these smaller ones all that much. I mean, I've got my normal aggressive fish like my strawberry peacock and my strigatus, which do dominate the tank and they do boss people around, but they don't kill anything. They're just very boisterous and active. I've got the neon blue as well, the Eucisia neon blue. Just try and find that one wherever it's gone. I've just seen it just here. So very similar to a sunshine peacock. They've got the yellow body, but what they have these blue fins. So instead of having a completely yellow body with a blue face, they have the yellow body, blue face, and they have the neon blue fins as well. So really pretty fish. Again, I'm hoping that one does well, because as you all know, I do want some yellow in this tank. I've got this smaller blue one as well, just at the back here, and that is supposed to be a Ngara flametail, which I've never kept. So I'm excited to see how that turns out. It doesn't look like an Ngara flametail right now, but he's only small, so there's time for him to colour up and start getting those adult colours as he matures, and hopefully that turns out to be a nice fish as well. I mean, he's not coloured down, it's not a grey fish, but it just doesn't look like his adult colorations have started to come in just yet either. And then I've got the red shoulder, which you can see up in the middle here. Not fully coloured up yet, still looking a little bit juvenile, so he might still be maturing into his colours, but that's a good sign. So it's a good sign that some of these fish aren't quite there yet, because that tells me that they're not a juiced fish. If I got a batch of all these smaller fish and they were all nuclear, then I'd have some concerns that maybe they've been treated with hormones and they've come from Thailand or somewhere where they notoriously dose their fish with hormones. But it looks to me like some of these are still maturing into their adult coloration, which is a really, really good sign. So thumbs up to Aquatics to your door. You're obviously getting your fish from a really good source that isn't juicing him. So I'm really happy about that. But the tank seems relatively calm. I've done a nice little bit of a water change on it, just to stir things up a little bit, keep the fish distracted. And they seem to be settling in well. I'm not seeing any signs of, like, you know, my big haps, any predatory behaviour, because they're a little bit smaller. Like I said, some of the usual suspects that are aggressive anyway are chasing them about a little bit, but they chase every fish in the tank anyway. So really happy with it, and promising fish to look forward to when they grow up. So there you have it. There's your fish deliveries in a nutshell. You've got an idea of what to expect, how they come packed, things that can potentially happen when you're getting the fish, when you're receiving them. So you could get DOAs, you could get beat up fish. It doesn't mean they're not going to recover if they're beat up when you put them into your tank. And then sometimes, especially with African cichlids, just when you open them and the coloration's not there, don't feel like they've given you a bad fish, because you can see in comparison to when I unbox these fish and what they look like just after a couple of hours in this tank, they've really settled down and started colouring up again already. So yeah, Aquatics to your door, really good job. I've used these a lot of times. So if you're thinking of African cichlids, definitely keep these in mind. Another shop what I've ordered from, which is also very good, is Sim's Tropical Fish. So I've had quite a few of my haplochromuses from Sim's Tropical Fish. They've got a great selection of haps, and every time I've had them, they've been in great condition, similar to Aquatics to Your Door as well. They packaged them really well. They put all the heat retaining materials in there, the heat packs and everything. So if you're struggling to find peacocks and you want to home in on some specifics and specific sizes, consider these two options. Another good thing with Aquatics to Your Door as well is they do have a photograph section. So they photograph their high grade peacocks so that you know the specific fish that you're getting. So they don't just put a bog standard stock picture of an OB peacock and then you don't know what you're getting. They do have a section where they have photographed peacocks. You'll pay more of a premium because you're getting to select the exact fish, but some of us are very particular with our fish, and no, I am, so it's a great option to have. So if you have enjoyed the video, don't forget to subscribe. I'm doing a lot of work on this African cichlid tank. I do plan to get more fish. I'm going to completely redesign the sump. So I'm going to change all my filtration in there and how it works, because what I want to do is get some real good water clarity on this tank. Try and dull down the noise that it's making a little bit. So we'll get into that next week. I'll make a video on the complete change of the sump, and then obviously we'll be shopping for more fish in the meantime.